All right. What's up, everybody?
Hey.
And Justin, you coming in here or no?
I'd probably be on the computer.
All right. Can you?
No, I just want to make sure Candace was on.
All right. I've got the record button going. Can you hit the door for me, please? Okay. We got Gray here too, so she's going to be learning with us. Hello, hello. She's going to be hanging out with us and making sure we behave. Okay, sorry for the delay. I was having a little whiteboard session with Dustin, who's actually giving some really interesting kind of philosophies, if you will, about different brokerages and the behavior patterns of agents that are at those brokerages. Nicole, are you driving? Are you running around, or are you able to take notes or listen? Or
I'm listening in, but I'm listening in.
all right, beautiful. Okay, so I want to start by kind of resetting the goals just a bit. Okay, the goals for this program are 10 R1s or R2s, so half cappers. Remember, half cap is 800 grand and rolling 12-month period, right? Which is what the broker metric shows you. So 800 grand to, let's say, 1.68-ish, that's a half capper. 1.7 and higher is a full capper. Okay, so those are primarily the people that we are looking to connect with leadership, whether it be Robin or Aubrey. Okay, the goal is to court as many of these people as you possibly can, such that at a minimum of 10 of them will get belly to belly with one of the people in leadership, okay, or possibly Zoom. Okay, so that's the goal. So the very first thing that we should be thinking to ourselves is, who am I going to be putting into my database, right? And where is that information going to be housed? So I have created a very rudimentary kind of pipeline report, if you will, on the Roswell growth team spreadsheet. And what it's asking you to do is basically track. Oh, by the way, I added another column. So I'm going to show you guys something really fast. And I can't believe I didn't do this before, but I'm going to show you what I have in mind. In a second, apparently. Can you do me a giant favor? Can you go up to the front desk and get a calendar for October for me? Thank you.
I got it.
Oh, you're bringing one in?
Yeah, I'll bring you one.
All right, never mind. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a golden text. Look, I wanted to know if you're interested in selling 1508 Beach Cliff Drive. See, look, people are doing work today. Okay, so I added a date column here. You guys see that? So what I'm doing is, remember we said the goal is to set one appointment per day. So that's roughly 17 appointments set, thank you, per month. And that it should result in a minimum of 10 held per month. Okay, so what I did is I went in and I said the date, the name, the brokerage that they're at, and as you can see, I haven't been overwhelmingly thorough here, but the most important thing is the name, so I don't lose sight and lose my mindset of that, right? So the brokerage, their cell phone number. Did I set the appointment? Did the appointment hold? Were they invited to some type of function? Like they were invited to Mega Camp. This person was invited to Mega Camp. Maybe somebody was invited to Bold. Maybe they were invited to the mastermind, something of that nature. Did they join? And did they name me as a sponsor? And has the bonus been paid? Okay, so Molly Evans, who you see right here, I was able to bring her to Keller Williams. Okay, she named me as a sponsor, but she's actually a brand new agent, so there won't be any bonus paid on that. Lori Nelson was a half capper, so there'll be the half cap bonus, and Melody Bray, who all those are in yellow, I'll receive the full bonus on. Okay, so What we want to, what I'm going to recommend is that you keep a list that is like this. Most importantly, you know the people that you have set an appointment with. Once you've set an appointment, if I set an appointment with you, you are not going to hear the end of me. I don't give a shit if I set it with you 17 years ago. When I call you, I'm going to say, hey, this is Bill Linkwald. We've had an appointment in the past, and I just wanted to reconnect and see if I can get on your calendar. Oh, well, when was that? According to my notes, that was 17 years ago. That's cool. Okay. Once you set the appointment, they should be on your spreadsheet for the rest of your career and their career. And I'm not even kidding. Okay. Because every single month you should be looking at the calendar like this and saying, hey, what can I invite people to that they might benefit from? Okay, so let's just take a quick moment and identify some of the opportunities that we can take advantage of. Remember, we've called these kind of carrots, if you will, right, that we can offer to our prospects. Okay, so I'm looking at the calendar right now.
Bold.
Absolutely. So I will tell you this. I can't imagine, I haven't officially asked Aubrey about this, but I can't imagine he would say no to this. If you've got a top producer or even a half capper for that matter, invite him to a day of bold. Okay, they can't come to the whole thing. That's not fair, but invite him to a day of bold. Okay, let them see the energy of, 135 people in the room clapping and cheering and getting excited and learning. They've never experienced that before, wherever they are. It's never happened. Okay, so I would have the bold schedule next to my calling station. Okay, another really good one is the annual business planning event that Gene Rivers is doing next Wednesday and Thursday. It's from 1 to 5 p.m. It's going to be live streamed on KW Connect, and it's going to be live streamed on the Agent Pivot Shift, or what is it called? Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group. Okay. Another great opportunity might be we have a mastermind this Friday. So if the person is 0 to 7 units, you could say, hey, would you like to come to our mastermind? It's from 3:30 to 4:30, and our code team leader is going to be hosting that, right? And if they've done more than 8 units, and you can say, hey, we got a top producer mastermind, and our team leader is going to be running that. It's from 2 to 3:30 on Friday. So I'd say both of those should be items that you are that you kind of have in your back pocket ready to offer to the people that you're speaking to.
Can I interject something, Bill?
Of course.
What I've been inviting people to is the pivot shift call. That's open to all, and then that is our background, it's our energy, our culture, but that's open to everybody. The pivot shift call and the scripts call, carry call. After that.
What is the scripts call? Just to make sure I'm aware of that.
It is, what's her name out of the Cary Market Center? Sam Nealon.
Oh yeah. Who always wears green.
Yes, and then.
By the way, that's another. We've been talking about that forever, y'all. And I'm kind of putting my productivity coaching hat on for a moment, but think about what you can become known for, right? Every time that I see green, I think of that woman, because 99% of the stuff she wears is green.
Well, she wears that green coat the entire time, all the time.
I bet she does. I bet. Right.
But no, so those things are like that just helps them with their current business. It's not really going into the actual Keller Williams, like if they don't want to go on our grounds per se. It's kind of like a neutral ground, but it's Keller Williams thread throughout theme. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
Okay. Can you just do me a huge favor and post the link for both the 8 a.m. call and the 8:30 call? Those two ones that you just mentioned.
Don't forget about the early birds that spawned from the pivot shift. That's on Clubhouse at 6:30. 2 MREAs head that up, and all they do is script practice, go over your unique value proposition, how to work with a D, how to work with an I, and your script and all that kind of stuff. So I can definitely get that to you guys.
Okay, so if you could post that on our joint WhatsApp group. Again, what we want to try to do is just fill the funnel with people. That's one thing. And the other thing is continue to make a very thorough list of stuff that we can offer them. Okay, so these 3 opportunities are perfect examples of that. Hey, just out of curiosity, do you ever spend time on the 8 o'clock, shift ahead Facebook group? And they're like, what are you talking about? Oh, wow, I've been participating in this for the last year and it's really helped me in this way, in this way, in this way. Can I send you a link to it? And then you send the link and then you say, hey, I'm going to call you after the session tomorrow. Call them after the session tomorrow and say, hey, what'd you think? The part I loved about the session was when they said this. Has that ever worked for you? Have you ever tried that? Right? This is a way to really get into their business without coming from the KW, pressure, if you will. Okay. So thank you so much for offering those couple things. Thank you. Okay. Another thing you might invite them to is Chartmasters. Chartmasters is on the 29th of October from 9:30 to 11. So what I recommend is every single time you get this calendar, you go in and highlight or circle or whatever you got to do some of the most important, or how do I say this? Like the most impressive or the most helpful opportunities. Now, just so you know, I would push them towards things that are more likely to be well attended. Right. So like, I'm not saying this wasn't helpful, but the temporary occupancy and lease agreements with Campbell and Brannon had 2 people in it yesterday. Right. So I'd focus on the things that are going to be a little bit more well attended, most likely. Okay. Another one that I might recommend is the listing presentation workshop by Dustin Kimberly next, or 2 Mondays from now, from 12:30 to 2:30. Okay. So, hey, tell me a little bit about what are you struggling with the most right now? Oh, I'm struggling with finding sellers. Oh, yeah, I hear that quite a bit. Interestingly enough, one of our top listing agents is going to be doing a listing presentation workshop. And we're going to talk about how to find the sellers, how to qualify the sellers, how to present to the sellers, how to close the sellers, how to take care of all their needs. And Dustin Kimberly with our office, who's one of our top producers, him and his team will sell over 100 units this month, or I'm sorry, this year. Completely free, no obligation. Would you be my guest at that program? Wow, I can come. That's free. Seriously? Yep, it's free. Come on in. Right. So the more you can the more carrots you have, so to speak, the more opportunities you'll have to build the relationships. Okay, so let's highlight bold, the top producer masterminds at the end of this week, the business planning course next Wednesday and Thursday, Chartmasters on the 29th, and the listing presentation on the 25th. Okay.
But Bill, you don't want to hand them that calendar. You want to keep that calendar and say, oh, I have a thing, I have a thing.
Truthfully, it depends. The thing is, interestingly enough, they don't even know that that's like a question.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because they've probably never seen a calendar that looks like this.
Yeah.
If I were to go to their broker and say, hey, show me your training calendar for the month, they might not even have one, right?
Yeah.
So they might not even know to ask for it. So you might volunteer a couple of classes and they say, oh, I'm going to be out of town for this week and a half, right? Say, great. Well, what I'd love to do is let me just send you a copy of our calendar. And if there's
Okay.
anything that you see on there that you're curious about, you'd like to come to, just let me know and I'll register
Okay.
you, or I'll get you signed up or whatever, right? So that, I think in some ways that's just as impressive, because then you're going to send this calendar to them and they're going to look and say, oh my gosh, alliance partners, and got all these people that are leadership that can help me, and you got all these different color coded stuff for different training opportunities. And oh my God, look at all these preferred vendors. And they actually celebrate my birthday. Nobody at my brokerage has ever celebrated my birthday, right? Oh my gosh, they looked at this, is how many people they added last month. Is that because they're like really offering great stuff? Like, you see what I'm saying? So if somebody were to look at this, they're going to get, quite frankly, they're going to get blown away, right? And what we want them to constantly be thinking, I currently am experiencing this at fill in the blank real estate brokerage, and it could look like this.
You
So-
want them to have a FOMO. You want them to have FOMO, fear of missing out.
That's right. Right. And you want them to know that basically what their experience where they are is not the only version of a real estate experience. Right. And what you're basically trying to get them to do, by the way, when you're on the phone with them, is to express some kind of lack, right? Some kind of, I wish this happened this way, or I wish that we had a class on that, or I wish that we were able to use this technology, or I wish they would help me find an assistant, or I wish I could help somebody to do the clerical work in my business, right? So you get them to figure out what they're complaining about. You say, hey, I had that problem, recently too, and this is how I addressed it, right? Or, hey, my gosh, you can come to this pivot shift, session, and you'll learn how to deal with that and another 5 things that you probably never heard about, right? I'll be on the call tomorrow. Let's chat right afterwards and we'll exchange notes. Okay, so this kind of bleeds into something that Justin and I were talking about the other day, okay, or 20 minutes ago, really, which is how do we, actually, before I go there, so I'm going to ask everyone, please commit to tracking your work, okay? It's not just so I know that you're working, it's so that you know and Aubrey knows, and you don't lose sight of any people that you've had great, conversations with, right? And if things die down, that's okay. They're still in the real estate business and probably nothing's happening to change. So, there's people, you see this woman right here, Precious Edit. See that person? I've been flirting with her since I was team leader. Okay. And I check in with her every once in a while. Hey, how's business? How's the family? Everyone doing okay? Yeah. What are you struggling with? What are you doing well? How's life? Where are you going on vacation? Blah, 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 blah. Guess what? You want to see something cool? We are meeting today. You see what I'm saying? So you never know when somebody's going
How
to
long has that been? 3 years?
at least. Okay. No, I'm not suggesting that I'm going to like close her today or anything like that. It's not like I'm doing things for people. I'm not doing things to people, right? If I share all the stuff that I know and I share all the stuff that Keller Williams offers, and she looks at that and she's like, oh, none of that appeals to me, right? No, I don't want to share ideas. I don't want a method of creating passive income, right? I don't want to be around a bunch of teams, right? I don't care about social equity. Okay, well, it'll be very obvious that it's probably not a fit for you, and that's cool. But for others, they'll walk in the door and they'll see all the things that we do and they'll say, oh my gosh, I have been seeking this for years. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so my ask of you is please be very, very thorough. Candace, I'm so impressed with you. I can see that you are editing as we speak. Thank you. You will, a tight pipeline and a tight set of tracking will result in you signing a bunch of people. Okay. I've been named sponsor. Melody didn't name me sponsor, but she had another person at KW. I don't care. I know if she's at Keller Williams, she's gonna have a better life. That's all I really care about. I'll make so much money, it doesn't even matter. Does that make sense? I used to get all in the weeds with that. Wasn't healthy. Make sense?
Yes.
Just bring them. Just bring them. Okay. All right. What I want to chat with you guys about today, or one of the things I want to chat with you guys about today, is this idea of how do you know it's like time for the handoff, right? Like, are you supposed to meet with them first? Are you supposed to immediately give them to one of the people in leadership? Should you invite them to 1 program, 2 programs, 3 programs? Like, how do you know? So, Justin, can you just speak to what you and I were speaking about a few minutes ago? You showed me like a meme where it kind of came off like we if we're not careful, we could be super aggressive and it'll feel really recruiting like, and that's not what we want. So tell me a little bit about what you have been experiencing and why you even brought this up to me.
Oh, absolutely. I've just in all my free time been trying to watch as many different perspectives from top recruiters, and they all seem to be saying it takes 14 touches, and a lot of them are using video. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, great. So if this is a 3-year process for some people, what's that process that we're going to do? And they had a little meme showing this lady saying after their first dinner date, she was trying to figure out the names of their first 4 kids, and they're just saying that's how so many recruiters handle it, where they're coming across the wrong way sometimes. And
Well,
it's a numbers game. So that's the catch 22. I'm just like, it's a numbers game. Not everyone's going to move. We're trying to find the ones. Let's move on to the next one. But sometimes it's also a cultivating.
Yeah, don't focus on whether you're going to get named sponsor. Focus on pouring into them so much that they feel terrible that they are being poured in so much and they haven't given you anything in return.
Oh, no, absolutely. I was just saying if it takes 14 touches, that's on average. I found that to be a little bit high.
I would
I'm
agree with
just
that.
curious.
Well, let me share. I'll give you the stories of. I'll give you the stories of these 3 people that I've brought on in the last month or so, just so you guys can understand. Melody Bray, I called this woman when she was a 2 or 3 unit a year agent at Solid Source back when I was team leader. I really liked her energy. She she ultimately became very successful. She just joined end of last month. She's about a $12 million producer. Okay, so she went from 2 or 3 sales to 12 million. Okay, everyone starts off with nothing, right? That relationship from the very first time I spoke with her to the time she came to KW was probably over 3 years. Okay, Lori Nelson, I called her. I had one really great conversation with her. At the end of the conversation, I suggested that she speak. I said, you really need to speak with Robin. Robin will go through the details of, how all the monthly expenses work and make sure that you kind of understand a little bit more about how to use all the tools and resources that we have. I set up that meeting. I walked in when Robin and her were meeting. She had, had gotten quite emotional about, her business and what was possible and all these things. Before the day was over, she had joined. So I spent about 30 minutes with her, and Robin spent about an hour with her, and she joined. Okay, Molly Evans, 1 extra appointment. We had 1 really good phone call. Then she came in because Robin was out of town last week. So I basically held Robin's version of the meeting. Raven gave her a tour. She signed up the next day. So it's not always a multi-year process. When somebody identifies that this is the best real estate partnership for them, a lot of times they just take action. You follow me?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same idea that we have with the buyer brokerage agreement, for example. Because I forget who I was explaining this to the other day, but let's say, Justin, I was courting you as a buyer's agent, or as a buyer. I'm the buyer's agent, you're the buyer. And I said, you say, hey, I want to look at these 3 homes this weekend. And I said, well, I don't look at any homes with anyone until you sign a buyer brokerage agreement. So I'm going to send this thing over to you and I expect you to sign it. And if I don't see that you've signed it, we're not meeting. And basically when they read it, it says, you will be loyal to this random dude named Bill Linkwald. And anything that you see or when you have questions, you'll go through this random dude named Bill Linkwald, and I want you to sign it. That's insane. That's kind of like me taking Candace out for it on a date. And prior to the date, I say, now here's a contract. And you've never spent any time with me, so you don't know if we're going to have fun together, or we're going to have things to talk about or anything like that. But I'd like you to sign this thing that says you won't be speaking to any other man. Right? You can't go hang out with any other man. You can't spend any time with any other man. You're locked in, baby. Who's going to sign that? Right? So you got to earn the right to have the partnership. Right? You can show them the document. Hey, here's what exclusivity looks like. Now I'm going to start earning exclusivity. And when you're ready to give it to me, we can talk about it then. Make sense? So in some ways, you're earning it with your courtship of all these people. Right? So for example, I look at this and say, oh my gosh, I didn't actually see this before. There's a listing presentation workshop on the 25th of October in our market center with one of the best listing agents I've ever been around. And the last time that Christy Newen and I spoke, she talked about listings. Hey, Christy, it's Bill Linkwald. You know, I just came across our calendar, and one of our top producers is going to be doing a listing presentation. Would you prefer to come in, or should I send you the Zoom link? Because I know you'll really, really get a lot from this meeting. Right? Leverage the market center's calendar, leverage Aubrey and Robin to have these conversations with them. They know how to do it. Right? If it's a new agent and they say, well, you know, I just don't have, you know, I don't have a great grip on my goals, and I don't have a great grip on my calendar, and I don't really know how, you know, to put together a pre-listing package. Say, oh my gosh, we've got a couple productivity coaches. You know, do you want to kind of audit their morning huddle tomorrow? Right? Or would you like one of them to sit down with you and do a private business consultation, right? To help you connect your income goals to your daily activities. No, we're not. No. Because ultimately, let's say, Justin, you were the one that said you found somebody at a different company that wasn't making a ton of money, and you said, hey, I think you're going to really benefit from auditing a morning huddle for our productivity coach. Can I send you the link now? Right? And they say, wait, that I can do that for free? Say, absolutely. We want you to be successful, right? You got into this business with one goal in mind, and you just told me you're having an off year. So I'd like to help you, right? And then they experience that, and they're like, is it free? Say, of course. What am I going to charge? $20 or something? Right? It's free. Come in, listen. It's not any extra weight on me or expense on me. Just come in and listen. Right? And the key is in the follow-up. Hey, what'd you guys talk about? What'd you learn? What action step are you going to take? Hey, by the way, there's a class on chart masters. You know, we work exclusively with a company that comes in and crunches the FMLS data for us at Keller Williams, and it's like a 90-page presentation. Would you like to be in the room when they're talking about that? Really? Yeah. Would you like me to send you a Google invite with a Zoom link? Yeah. Okay, I'll need your email. Now you got their email for the database. You see what I'm saying? So it's, in many ways, it's exactly the same as working with buyers and sellers. You're collecting data, and the data is generally, where are they in their business versus where do they want to be in their business? Okay, so there's some people you kind of have to feel it out a little bit, and you'll get more natural it'll become more natural as time moves on, based on what they're telling you and what they're asking about. You can invite them to a class, right? You could say, you know, I got to tell you, Robin Lemon, our co-team leader, she loves talking about social media plans. Can I get you on her calendar? Right. Oh my gosh, you're interested in flipping homes? Aubrey Bailey, our team leader, he has flipped over 40 properties in his career. He loves sharing how he did it. Can I get you guys together? I'm looking at his calendar right now. See what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, hey, I don't know if you want to be recruited or not, but I got a really good recruiter who'd like to meet with you and then corner you and recruit you. They're going to say no to that. Right. But if you offer them something they've already expressed an interest in or a need for, and then you show them who can fix it for them or address it with them, then it's just a natural progression. And then Aubrey and Robin and myself and a few others are basically trained to draw out the emotions, right? If you look at our typical scripts, many of them are, what was your goal? Where are you? How do you feel about that? And what are we going to do next? 90% of the people that I speak with, and I say, so, hey, congratulations. I see you're the number 15 agent at Corporate Metro Brokers. And they're like, I'm the number 15 agent at Corporate Metro Brokers. I only sold 3 homes. Interestingly enough, you really are. I'm looking at it right here, right? I said, wow. I said, did anyone tell you you're number 15? I know damn well no one told them they're 15, but I'm going to ask anyway. Has anyone ever told you, congratulated you on being number 15 at the market center? Well, no. Congratulations. So let me ask you, how do you feel about that? Is this a good year for you? Is this an off year for you? What are you experiencing? Very vague questions, right? And they'll say, it's a bit of an off year for me. It's like, what are you used to? Well, I'm used to being a $4 million producer. Wow, so now you're around 2.5. So what are you struggling with? What's the thing? What part of the business is shaky now, or did one lead source that you have dry up, or tell me a little bit about what's happening, right? Oh, well, my assistant quit, so you're back to being the assistant. Yeah. So is anyone in your environment right now helping you identify the next person? Because not having an assistant cost you a lot of money this year, right? Well, yeah. How much money do you think it cost you? Right? So you've identified the pain, and then you stroke it a little bit, and then you offer a solution. Y'all follow all that? All right, what have you heard so far?
Yes. Are you going to be able to share that spreadsheet?
Oh, the one that I was sharing a second ago?
Yeah.
Yep, it's already shared with you.
Okay, great.
So let me just triple check.
You know what? Being it's like, I guess it's just me and Justin. I really want to jump on board, but again, I'm nervous about abandoning my other business. How are we going to parlay this together?
Actually, Nicole, I'm sorry, I have not shared it with you. What's the best email for you?
The KW.
Is it Lachey?
No. KW. Nicole_Young@kw.com.
Hey, Nicole.
What's
This is Candace. Hi. So on Thursdays, there's a coaching call where it's live lead generation from 11:30 to 12:30 with one of the MAPS coaches. And everybody's on mute, but when you get a hold of somebody, he gives us a script. And then when you get a hold of somebody, you take yourself off mute so he can listen in. And then he gives you direction after the call is over if you need it, or else if you book the appointment, he's like, that's awesome, But I find that to be I love that, because it's a focused time. I know I have to show up. I know I have to be intentional about it. And I dial the heck out of that hour. And then at 1:30 on some Thursdays, like today, there's a training call at 1:30 to 2:30 as well. So we get, so Thursday's my lead gen day where I'm just like, that's my focus.
Okay, thank you for adding that. Can you please share all the links and whatnot that you just mentioned?
Yep.
Okay, so here's how I would address that, Nicole. It all boils down to time management. That's it. You're going to live and die all of your interests, all of your projects, all of your passion projects. It's all going to boil down to your ability to manage your time.
Okay.
So what I think personally is I would venture to say that each hour you should easily be able to set one appointment. So I'm thinking that somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 hours per week, although I can't wait for us all to disprove that. I think it's probably actually quite a bit less. 5 hours a week maximum is what this should take you.
Okay.
Okay. So you might, like Candace, say, hey, I'm going to earmark Thursday or half of Thursday for my recruiting efforts. You might say, hey, my first 30 minutes of lead gen is going to be recruits until I book my one appointment, then I'll move on to my business. Right. So it is like everything needs to fight for its slot in your calendar. So for example, this is my calendar. Okay. Now, this is what I'm up to the rest of the day. This is what I'm up to tomorrow. But all week I've been filling this up. Right. This is next week's calendar. So on Sunday, when I look at my results for this past week, how many appointments did I set? How many were held? What happened in my PC group? Who do I have anything special going on next week? Any of that kind of stuff. I look at this and say, oh my gosh, I don't have time for that because I'm behind. So I can't go to beers with my buddy, or, I need to stay up a little bit later on Saturday night and do a little clerical work, right? Or I need to hire a VA to put some stuff in my database because I don't have time for it based on what I've got to catch up on, right? So it's constantly evaluating, have I earned the right to keep this appointment,
Okay.
right? So that's basically what it boils down to, right? Everything could help you. The question is it the best thing to work on at that moment, right? And so like Ben Kinney, I've heard, he tells his assistant at the beginning of each week to cancel half of his appointments because he needs to like have all those appointments kind of re-earn their slot, right? So you might find that you're doing things that are not going to create the success, the kind of success that this effort could, right? So, I mean, let's just do some real rough math, and this is going to take me a second because I wasn't necessarily prepared for this, but let's say you set 10 appointments, or you're responsible for 10 held appointments per month. That's 120 appointments for the year. Okay. Let's just be super conservative. Okay. And let's say half of them are going to select somebody else as the sponsor. Okay. So 120 people meet with either Robin or Aubrey. And let's say that either right away or in a short amount of time, they're able to convert a third of them. The number is probably higher than that, but let's say it's a third. Okay, so that's 36 people. Okay, now half of them, let's say, are going to name somebody else. So it's 18 people all year will name you. The difference between a half capper and a capper, let's say it's about $1,500, or let's say $1,250 and $2,500. So what's the average of those? 25 plus 1,250 divided by 2 is the person that you join or that names you a sponsor. You'll probably see about $1,875 from them each year. Multiply that by 18. That is $33,750 in passive income that you can create from this every year. That's an annuity, basically. That's like putting $1 million in the bank, and it'll spit off $30,000 to $33,000 per year. So if I were to come to you and say, Nicole, if you can get me 10 held appointments per month consistently, then I will pay you this year. Then I will pay you $33,000 every year for the rest of your life. Oh, and by the way, when you don't need it anymore, we give it to your kids. You'll say, is it appropriate to make calls in the middle of the night? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how important it is. Okay, so if you say, well, I ain't got an hour to do that every day, so show me your schedule. And I'll ask, hey, that hour, you're perfectly comfortable using that hour to do that. Is that worth it? Which is more beneficial to you and your family in the long run? Right?
Right.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that would be for the
And there was like 1 or 2 years where I almost referred everything, definitely every buyer and some of the sellers. I referred to Pam, and I put my head down and I recruited every day. I went to lunch with my wife every day. I picked up my kids, and every other minute I was recruiting. Okay, and now my wife and I will generally see around $70,000, and it's growing, between $65,000 and $70,000 annually because of what I did back then. And I made 6 figures with all the referral fees. Right? I'm not here to tell you that I'm, making money. I'm here to tell you you can too.
right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
It's all going to come down to how important is this to you? So you basically, like we always talk about in PC, is basically prove it to me that it's important. Prove it to me. And the way you're going to prove it to me is by putting people in your pipeline, is by carving out that time from your calendar. It's going to be staying consistent with the follow-up. It's going to be staying positive if somebody else names somebody else, right?
Oh, yeah, that will happen.
That it will. I got probably, I have probably 250-ish or so people in my downline. I probably have easily another 100 that should have named me and didn't. Easily. Right? Again, it used to bum me out, but when it bummed me out, I didn't bring the appropriate amount of energy to the next call. Right? So I said to myself, well, shit, I think I'm going to stop letting it bum me out because that's not serving me.
Right.
It's not serving my children. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so thank you so much for bringing that up. So what I'm going to ask you guys is prove it to me. Prove it to me that this is important to you. And the way you're going to prove it is in 2 steps. One is finding a place in your calendar for it. And secondly, respecting the fact that you put it in the calendar. And please understand, this is a long play. Okay, don't do this for a month. Nothing shows up in your profit share tree the next month. And so you are, you're like, this ain't gonna work. It will work if you work it. Okay, so in some respects, you're gonna need to kind of go with the flow a little bit. And hey, should this person come to a PC session? Should this person meet with somebody for a business planning session? Should this person come to a class? And you want to make records of all the things that these people are experiencing, so you can go and cross-reference it in the future. But just like every buyer and seller,
Yeah, just different type of pipeline, that's all.
just add to the pipeline, add to the pipeline, add to the pipeline. You think that people are calling them, they're not getting called that often, trust me. Okay. And by the way, if you're going to call people, let's say they're $4 million or $3 million and less, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk here, but almost no one is on track. They all wanted to make more money. They all did. And if they lie, if not, they're lying to you. No one got into this business and say, I plan on getting rejected all day. In exchange for that, I'm cool with making $18,000 a year. Bullshit. It's never happened. They all want more. Is that fair, Nicole? You've been around long enough. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy because I'm one of them. How about that? But I'd have to be at the right place. So you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, you happen to be at the right place? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about me leaving.
Good. This is the
EXP
last
is
group
not-
of people I would
there's
expect to leave.
There's nothing about EXP or any other models that I'm even interested in.
Well, here's the deal. Wherever you go, it's the same story. It's what are your habits? How committed are you? Is your mindset healthy? Are you willing to do the work? Do you have the appropriate types of resources? Now go work. And if somebody doesn't like lead generating at KW and they think that going to EXP is going to solve all their problems, they're not going to lead generate over there either. And they're going to have even less support, and they're going to leave the business even faster, most likely.
One of my-
Been there, done that.
One of my favorite.
That
One of-
provoked some interaction.
Jumped off the skyscraper after team meetings with everyone else. In
One
their
of
little
my
virtual office.
one of my favorite sayings that my husband has is wherever you go, you take yourself.
I was about to say that. You know, somebody has a crappy attitude and they're like, oh, well, you guys aren't doing that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go to EXP. Okay. Problem is the second you go to EXP, that same negative person that doesn't like working is there too.
Yeah.
Nicole, what were you going to say? I think we cut you off.
No, you didn't. But are you wrapping up? Go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything you want to add before we do?
No, I just need to get that on the calendar, and I need to work on that because you know how I feel about commitments, and if I'm going to make the commitment, I need to, do it. So.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to add, this is a good way to deal with commitment, which is it's kind of like we learned in Bold yesterday, right? When it happens, what do you get? Okay,
Right.
if I do this, then I get the satisfaction and fulfillment of helping 18 agents this year get in a better environment so that they can have a better life by design for
Okay.
themselves and for their families. Now, when that happens, what happens to me? Okay, when that happens, then I have 18 new friends and I'm making 30 grand a year in profit share. What am I going to do with that money? Well, I'll be able to get out of debt. I'll be able to buy that new car. I'll be able to go on that vacation. I'll be able to, send my kid to college. I'll be able to give money to this charity, right? I'll be able to get a new wardrobe, whatever.
Good point.
Okay. And then how important is that to you? Right? Because the second you quit doing the activities, you no longer get the privilege of that benefit. And then you got to go ask yourself, hey, what's the penalty, so to speak, for not doing it? Well, if I don't do it, it'll be one less year that I receive passive income. It'll be one more year that I'm paying interest on this credit card. It'll be one more year that I can't go on vacation that I promised my kids, yada, yada, right? Which is more painful. Look, life is hard, okay? You can either choose hard where you have no control and you have no money, or you can be hard as in, I got a ton of opportunities, it's very chaotic, I'm making lots of money, and I just need to, the hard part is finding somebody to help you with it all.
Right.
Which version of hard would you prefer? I mean, really, in some ways, there's nothing else we need to talk about. Right?
I agree. So, all right, I'll get that to you, and I'll get those little links a little bit later. I gotta go to 11:45.
All right, guys, I appreciate everything you're doing. We'll see you soon.
Bye.